Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Stine and this is going to be a video from start to finish of me making a scarf that's going to match this beret. So of course I want a scarf to match the beret for the coming winter months, and the scarf I'm going to make is called Dream and Shines. This is a free hobby pattern that I found on the hobby website, and I'm going to use the exact same yarns as I used for the beret, so which is this lovely ice yarns in their universe colorway. And this lovely yarn, as you can see, is a variegated yarn, and it's 19% wool, 11% acrylic and 70% polyamide. It's 100 grams on a ball, and for these 100 grams you get 230 meters of yarn approximately. And it's a medium weight yarn, so it's a medium weight 4. And basically that's gonna be the yarn I'm going to be using. I will need approximately 350 grams, so 3.5 skeins for the shawl. And the shawl I'm going to crochet with a crochet hook size of 5 millimeters, and I will be using my Prim crochet hook. And I do believe the 5 millimeter hook is equally a US hook size H. My apologies if that's not correct, but I think I caught that somewhere. Anyhow, this scarf is special in the sense that it's crocheted in the length. So your foundation is in the length of the scarf, which is going to be about 2 meters long. And the foundation you create by doing 268 double crochets in a foundation chain. For me, it's a new method to instantly make the double crochets while you do the foundation chain. So of course, all on its own, it's going to be an adventure to get started on this scarf. And I will take you along the way as I crochet, but I will not be wearing this during the whole video. I will though, once I have finished the scarf, show you how it looks combined with the beret, of course. So I've completed the foundation chain of 268 double crochets in the foundation, and then I made the second row already also as well with double crochets only. So right now the project, as I mentioned, is crocheted in the length, is currently looking like this very long piece, which is probably like close to 2 meters in the length. The next row is going to contain of some treble crochets, and then I'm going to add a so-called cross stitch. And I need to do a little bit of stitching in the lovely free pattern that I have. There is a good explanation of what the cross stitch is and how I have to actually do it. I do have to read it through a few times because I do not want to flog this project. Point 1, I hate flog in general, but point 2, this yarn that I'm working with is an absolute nightmare to flog because of the halo this yarn has. So yeah, the next steps for me is basically figuring out how to make the cross stitches and yeah, do it one by one. But what I really like with the foundation chain that I made is that it really looks really nicely. It does have a nice edge where you can actually also easily see a stitch definition, as if the whole project was made in a foundation chain and then you had worked all your stitches in the back loop, but instead you just made them basically double crochet by double crochet, and then you kind of worked it like this when making the full chain. So I had used lots of stitch markers. I had added for each section so that I could easily keep count, because 168 stitches is a darn lot in one row. So yeah, the next project is the treble crochets and figuring out how I do the cross stitches. And of course, I'm going to show you the progress as I keep progressing on this, which hopefully should become a shawl. Not a shawl, sorry, it's a scarf quite soon. I have now finished 3 more rows of my Dreams and Shine scarf. So now we are currently looking like this, or depending on how you're watching it, like this, because it's like going to be, if you say this is the top end, when you're going to carry it, it's going to be like that, because it's going to have some more draping towards the bottom. The third row is basically like 4 treble crochets and then all these cross stitches that you can see here. And the cross stitches spans over 4 stitches, and then it's basically repeating until the other end, where you will have another 4 treble crochets. And of course, at the start of that round, instead of a treble crochet, I inserted 4 chain stitches to replace the treble crochet. What also happened was I actually had to flog this round when I made it the first time, because when I worked in the treble crochet, see, I'm going to find the other end for you guys. When I worked in the treble crochets, or actually the first chain here, then I inserted the first treble crochet in that stitch, which is, let's see, right here. There's a stitch. I inserted the first treble crochet in that one instead of in the following stitch. So what happened was I got to the very end, and to reach that other end, I had to insert 5 treble crochets and not just 4. So I quickly figured out, okay, I should not have inserted the treble crochet in that first stitch. Flogged it all, and it's a nightmare to flog this yarn, but I flogged it all and I redid the whole row, which of course feels like it takes forever when it's this 2 meters long work piece. Then I came to the end here, the treble crochets. Then I made 1 full row of just double crochets, and the pattern wasn't very clear, as if because here in the cross stitches, the top part here is 2 chains, and the pattern wasn't really clear if you needed to insert the double crochets into the chain stitches, or if you could just work them into the space created in the actual cross stitches like I've done. I've done it because it seems a little bit more solid to the whole pattern, and you also have between the 2 crosses where the crosses meet, you have stitches that's easily to insert the double crochets in. So I've basically, every 2 I've worked into the chain space rather than working into the chain stitches. Worked it all the way to the end for where I started on the return back to where I am right now. So I started with chaining 3, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and that's what's creating this small pattern with all the gaps on top. So where I'm at now is basically I need to make another full row of double crochets only. When I get to that end, I will make another row of these 2 double crochets, chain, 2 double crochets, chain, 2 double crochets, and then another full row of double crochets before I make another row of the cross stitches, and then another row of double crochets. And when I'm there, I have to figure out if I want the height or width, maybe, because I'm not sure what you would actually say. The scarf is long. So the question is how deep or how high or wide would I want it to be? And I think I'm going to make a decision after I finish the second round of the cross stitches to see if I want to add another repeating amount of rows, which would be like 5, 6 or 7 extra rows. Or would have to calculate when I get there if I think I want to add that or not. I'm not really decided on that yet. First, I want to just get to that second pace of cross stitches. So I've now finished the third repeat of the pattern. So this is now pretty much the size. I do apologize for any loose tails. I still need to weave them in. But based on old experiences, I shall first weave these in as we are more or less finished with the project to prevent needing to frog it and therefore having woven them in, and then frogging becomes a challenge and stuff like that. So that's why I leave them a bit for now. But yeah, that's where we are at. And I would absolutely say this is more than wide enough to make a nice winter scarf. And it's still approximately these 2 meters long, as you remember. So it's really becoming quite a project indeed. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to prepare for the finishing 4 rounds, and that's going to be so I'm gonna start with like I think, just a moment, let me find the pattern here. I'm going to start with 4 double crochets, chain 4 while you jump 4 stitches, and then you're gonna do another 4 double crochets, chain 4, and so basically for every 4th you make double crochet. So like every 4 stitches you make double crochets, then you are chaining 4, jumping over 4 stitches to continue making 4 double crochets. That's 1 row. And then the following row we will have some single crochets and some double crochets, creating this sort of a fan tail. And honestly, I think it's probably easier for me to explain you for each row onwards from here what I'm doing, because you know, you guys trying to remember it and then seeing the finished project is, I don't think so, that ideal. If you're of a different opinion, I'm happy to hear it in the comments down below. We're of course also sharing the pattern. So I'm now gonna ahead and started finishing the finish or the bottom part, which includes the fantail like things. And the first round, which I made, so I've made 2 rounds since, and the first row here is like the 4 double crochets, chain 4, 4 double crochets, and that's basically what creates these larger gaps, which is like across the whole scarf at the bottom, because when it's gonna be worn, it's gonna be like, obviously like this with the fans at the lower end. The following row I've gone ahead, so basically I've then gone ahead and I chained 1 to make like a turning chain. Then I made here 3 single crochets, and then I chained 1, which is kind of the small gap you can maybe see there. It's a chain 1 there. Then there's 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1, a single crochet, which then goes into another chain 1, 3 double crochets, 2 chains, 3 double crochets, chain 1, single crochet, etc. And that's how it's repeating itself for the whole row across to kind of prepare for the fan, what you can see here. The next thing we're going to do is to work in more double crochets to increase this kind of fan feeling and wavy bottom end. And I'm going to add 1 more row, and then I'm going to explain you afterwards what I did in that row, and then hopefully you can see how the result nicely progresses. I have to admit, I ended up finishing up the project, which was adding the last 2 rows, and let's talk about it here. So to continue to start on the second last row, I made a chain, and then I made a double crochet, and then I started entering double crochets first, entered a double crochet in each of the double crochets from the previous round, so that was the first 3 double crochets. And then I entered 3 double crochets into the gap, so I worked them into the gap. So on these rows from here, from like finger to finger, there are 6 double crochets, The same would go for this row, 6 double crochets, 6 double crochets, etc. So you work in 3 double crochets in the double crochets from the previous round, and you enter 3 double crochets in this top gap. Oh, in these gaps. So in this gap, that would have been in this gap, and in this gap, and this gap, and you did 6 double crochets, chain 2, and then 6 double crochets, continuing on the following round, 6 double crochets, chain 2, proceeding down 6 double crochets, doing nothing but just going on to the other row, continuing with the 6 double crochets. So it was basically more like 12 double crochets, chain 2, 12 double crochets, chain 2. And then to finalize it, like I would flip the work around here. I chained 1, and then I started working in chain stitches in each of the stitch all the way around, and then up in this gap where I had chained 2 the previous round, I would I worked in 2 single crochets. Then I made I chained 3. And those chain 3, I would slip stitch into the last single crochet. Then I would work in a 3rd single crochet in this gap here, before I would continue making single crochets all the way down, and then all the way up to the next pivot point here, where I would then again enter 2 single crochets into the gap, chain 3, slip stitch the chain 3 into the last single crochet, single crochet another into the gap, and then single crochet each stitch all the way onto the next pivot point. So that's basically how it went all the way through. I also gone ahead, of course, as you might have noticed, and woven in my tails. So this would be the final project and scarf showing, and I'm going to see if I can actually carry it a bit and put it on to show you guys how lovely this has actually turned out to be. And of course it does have some length to it, but here we go. This is the final result of the Dreams and Shines scarf, and while it contains wool, it's actually very, very soft to carry and wear. And I'm really, really pleased with it. So I'm only missing to make a couple of gloves, of course, for my complete set. But this is certainly a pattern that I might be making again. And I actually do have some other yarn in a very similar content fiber from another brand that I might even make more of these scarves from, because honestly, I'm absolutely happy with the result, and I can recommend it to anyone who would like a good, solid, warm winter scarf. The wool really adds to its warmth, and it's not itchy, and I'm very, very keen on not having itchy stuff. So yeah, I can warmly recommend this pattern. I can warmly recommend either this yarn or a similar yarn. It could also be Ice Yarns Rockstar. It could be the Metallico yarns from Hobby, or any similar yarn which is in this kind of content. It's really, really nice, and I think I'm going to enjoy this scarf a lot when it's gonna be cold this coming winter. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching this Dreams and Shines from start to finish video, from the very start to the end of this video. I hope you learned something from the thoughts I made through it. I do believe it's ended up being the perfect length, which was a total of 3 repeats of the pattern. That includes 4 times making the cross stitches. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and hit the notifications if you want to get notified whenever I do post new videos. Have a great day. Happy crafting. Be blessed. Bye.